Welcome to Industry Gossip. My name is Manish Kata, coming off a almost record-setting episode on the backs of Kim Kardashian's ass cheeks. With me, as always, Christopher Norton, CMO.
I'm going to leave that one alone. In what promises to be a future acquisition watch segment on this show, InvestmentNews is for sale. Again, after bleeding cash all of this year and their owners saying, it's not really paying off. Underrated or overrated?
I think this is overrated, and in a lot of ways. I mean, they bought it for $27 million in 2018, and with their own valuation, it's down to like $12 million or something like that. They're citing a decline in digital advertising. Like, no shit. People have realized for years that you don't need to advertise with publications. I feel bad for them in a lot of ways because there's a lot of talent there. We've interacted with different journalists from these publications, and there's some really talented folks. However, the business model is really flawed. If you're not going to double down on in-person events to make money, it has to come down to advertising. And frankly, there's so many better ways to market than to, put your logo on these websites that look like someone barfed on the screen, or get on their email chain, which, as we all know, is dying in many regards. So, I would buy the domain just for the domain name, and maybe a couple of people that can hang along. But other than that, I don't foresee a really bright future for InvestmentNews or frankly, most of the publications that are out there.
I will make no other comment other than their YouTube channel has less views than this fake news show.
Why are you calling it fake?
Because we didn't air the real news we got sent. All right. Titan of industry Elon Musk has taken control of Twitter and pretty much cleaned house. Underrated or overrated?
I think this is underrated. And listen, I think this is a warning sign for the rest of the technology sector. In good times, you overhire, right? Because it's too hard to go find talent. You need to keep people in their seats. The second revenues start to decline, you realize that you don't actually need that many people on your staff to begin with. And I think he tweeted that they were losing about $4 million a day, and he's coming in and cleaning house, and he's catching a lot of flack for it. But frankly, it's his job to make sure that the company is running profitably. And frankly, I think most tech companies have hired too many people. Meta came out a week later and said that they're going to start layoffs this week. So I think this is underrated because it's going to ripple through the entire tech industry, where people, frankly, are going to be laid off left and right until we can kind of settle in on where this economy is going to go.
I just want my $8 blue check mark to be a SpaceX Starship. Well, Riskalyze has announced their intention to rebrand, with the Riskalyze name going to that risk questionnaire product, and a new name coming for the organization. Underrated or overrated?
I think this is overrated on a couple fronts. I will say this, Riskalyze has such a good brand. I don't understand why they want to get rid of that for whatever they're going to come up with. And I also don't quite understand what it exactly is that they're doing. Aaron Klein had mentioned something about a new pillar of wealth tech. Listen, I don't think we need any more pillars in wealth tech. I think, if anything, we need to knock some pillars down. So I'm excited to see exactly what they're coming out with, but it saddens me to see taking away from so much brand equity that they've developed over the years with the Riskalyze name. I think they could have done this different ways, but listen, who are we, right? We're just here to judge and play Monday morning quarterback. So excited to see what's coming out, but at this point, it seems like it's a little overrated.
There's that part of me that came from the agency world that I guess is glad that people are starting to really value their brands in this industry, because for so long it felt like it was a second thought. But you hit the nail on the head with the phrase brand equity, and I don't know that they value just what they have created. Just one example, I could give you 20. But when Nike decided to move on from shoes into all kinds of sports apparel, they didn't step back and go, okay, Nike's the shoe. We're going to come up with something else for all the other stuff. Because they knew that name fucking meant something. So I'll leave it there. But this doesn't need to be done.
Agree.
Okay, some company called Potomac went and called their shot that they would never hire wholesalers, and now they're hiring wholesalers. Underrated or overrated?
This is underrated news, and I think it's an admission here, right? We had the CMO of our firm write an article in a publication that basically said that wholesalers suck and we never will need them again, and here we are. Face in hand, ready to hire a whole new sales staff. And I think we've learned an important lesson. And I think this is something for everyone on social media to really pay attention to. It is important to create content. It is important to create a digital media powerhouse, so to say. However, that's not the only way that you're going to actually go out there and market and gain clients. I think what we underestimated is the power of going out and having meals with people, shaking hands, traveling, meeting clients face to face. Listen, at the time we were in the middle of a pandemic, and to our credit, we didn't see a future where you'd ever want to get out of your pajamas. But we were wrong, and we have to go out there and put boots on the ground. So I think for advisors who are also running their business, don't get caught up in the same mistakes and situations that we did, where you rely so much on a digital footprint that you forgot what it takes to be human.
I remembered a moment a couple of years ago as you were talking there where you said, Christopher, I think you ought to write that article. Damn. Well played.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Okay. Original captain of industry beards, Bob Veris, has called out investment advisors, luminaries, and frankly, the wider award industry in financial services for kind of being bullshit. Because even though they're free, there's a 5-figure enterprise built around advertising these things when you win. So, underrated or overrated?
I think this is overrated, and it's getting kind of childish at this point, because technically, this is what these publications are kind of the soapbox they're standing on. Technically, you get nominated for an award. In many cases, you can self-nominate. Then you get the award. Then, after all that, is when you get the promotional packages. So in their minds, you're not paying for the award. You're paying for the promotional package after you receive the award. Now, listen, if you win an award 2 straight years and never give them any money, the chances are that you're probably not going to get nominated again. I just think people should just admit where the line between sales and editorial comes in. It's okay to run these type of award shows or award lists, but just admit that it is what it is. Don't come out here and stand on your integrity as a journalist or as an editor when you're kind of just like dancing around the subject on what this really is. And so I think I don't blame them. They have to market themselves. And in a lot of ways, they're picking nominations that can help them market themselves. People in the industry that make a lot of noise and may not have any substance behind them, because it elevates their publication. And I get it. It's part of the game. But just admit it rather than skirting around the fact that you're leaning towards more sales than you are editorial at this point. So, I agree with Bob in many ways that these awards are all bullshit.
We should note, for the record, that you did win a Luminary Award, I believe, in their first year. I don't think we ever got around to promoting it because we were too focused on the Profound Industry Maker and Player Awards.
Coming back in 2023.
All right, last one for this outing. Dan Snyder has announced he is willing to take bids for the Washington Commanders, with Jeff Bezos and Jay-Z set to make the first offer. Underrated or overrated?
This is underrated. This is the greatest news that has come out of the Washington DMV area in, since 1999. And I've never seen a football city so excited over news that has nothing to do with them winning an actual game. And so, f*** you, Dan Snyder, sell the team.
Cheers to you. I wish you nothing but success after you lose to the 49ers later this year. That will do it for Industry Gossip. We will see you back probably in December if there's news. Otherwise, have great holidays. Cheers.
Later.